Friends, good evening. Finally, we go on air with this festive broadcast. This beautiful studio fits wonderfully for such a special occasion. I could never have imagined back in 2005 that time would pass so swiftly, yet here we are, celebrating the 20th anniversary of my friend Imram's teaching journey. My name is Ilyas. Today we welcome into the studio a master of Kriya Yoga, a musician and my friend, a wonderful person who has profoundly transformed the lives of many, and today he will answer for his actions. Happy to have you here with us, Imram. Greetings to everyone. Thank you for making the time. For countless people, these 20 years have been life-changing. Some first learned about Kriya Yoga back in 2005 at one of the earliest seminars. Some discovered it a little later. And for others, it has only recently been revealed through seminars and more profoundly through retreats. Yet for all, it has influenced many aspects of life, from health to even family relationships. And what about your life? Looking back over these 20 years, how do you feel? And what does this milestone mean to you?
They flew by like a second. No room for personal life. Throughout these 20 years, we have worked with people and with space, dedicating ourselves fully and selflessly in the service of others. And we have absolutely no regrets. More than that, we feel that every action was entirely correct. This is why we go on doing it. Ahead lies eternity, and from the perspective of eternity, 20 years is just a minute. Am I allowed to joke?
Sure, this celebration is meant to be fun.
A fun celebration.
So let's joke and enjoy it. This broadcast is unlike our usual ones. In fact, today it's less about questions and more about sharing stories. In a way, we'll be swapping roles.
Good.
I still have a question to ask. Let's go back to 2005. Imagine I suddenly materialized. Back then, my hair was not so white. Imagine me telling you with the voice of a prophet that your events would gather thousands of people and everything else that we know now. How would you react?
So it was your voice that I heard? Good. My reaction? I would simply accept it with even greater responsibility. Actually, it's ever growing and the bar of responsibility keeps rising. The more people I work with, the greater the opportunities for realization, for the realization of my project. Naturally, responsibilities increase, because now people come better prepared, because they have access to plenty of information, they have knowledge. But how can they benefit from it? It's a real challenge. You can know a lot and still not know how to make it work in your life. Essentially, all this information just weighs on them, while what they truly need is realization. These people often become very knowledgeable practitioners who have no desires but are incredibly skilled. That is the challenge. It's not enough to just know. The key is being able to act. Hence the saying, he who knows does not speak. He who speaks does not know.
You've just shared your impressions. I want to mention that throughout today's show, I will not be hosting alone. I will be assisted by someone who dedicates an enormous amount of time and energy every day, doing it sincerely as part of the Imram Kriya team. You may have seen and heard this person in one of our previous live broadcasts. Today, let me introduce the voice of the people, the one who will read out your messages, past and future. Yulia, welcome to the studio. You know the classic line, hello, hello, are you there?
Yes, Ilyas, thank you.
I pass the floor to you.
Thank you, Ilyas. Good evening, everyone. I would like to join in sending my best wishes to the Imram Kriya project on this significant milestone. I also want to express my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who shared their stories. They are very touching and inspiring. During the show, I will read out a few particularly moving stories. The first one comes from Ilya. I first learned about Imram and his project in 2017. At that time, my life was in turmoil. I was going through a divorce, had lost my apartment, my business had failed, and all I had left was a car on credit. I ended up drinking daily and using other harmful stuff to escape the depression and apathy I was stuck in, even for a single moment. I tried to help myself through psychology, shamanism, and esotericism, but nothing worked. One morning, suffering from a terrible hangover, I wondered where this lifestyle would lead me. I felt a strong urge to change everything, yet the tools I knew offered no help. Then within myself I let out a silent scream, letting every bit of strength flow from my aching heart. Please help me, I don't want to live like this anymore. The next day I had forgotten about it, but something extraordinary happened. Out of the blue, I needed to visit my hometown. Upon arrival, I posted photos on social media to announce my visit. To my surprise, a close friend I hadn't seen for over 10 years arrived from Cyprus and offered to meet up. It was the pivotal point. As we walked together, I complained that my life was a complete mess and that I had tried everything. He smiled and told me he had a remedy, Kriya Yoga. He advised me to stay at home for 2 days, read Autobiography of a Yogi, watch lectures by Satya Sai Baba, study Kriya through Imram Kriya's YouTube videos, and of course, meditate. I didn't take it seriously, as I had tried so many methods, none of which had helped. Yet a few days later, I returned home and followed his advice. The results astonished me. In just 2 days, my life completely changed, and it felt totally unbelievable. All I did was practice at home the best I could, reading, watching lectures, and when I stepped outside, everything looked completely new. The grass by my house, even my own car. It felt as if I was seeing the world for the first time. And it was more than just a feeling. In these 2 days, my attitude towards the world had changed entirely. Alcohol and all those destructive habits were gone. Later, temptations appeared trivial and even laughable. Those first 2 days of practicing Kriya Yoga completely reshaped my life. The pain from the divorce quickly eased, and although certain problems still weighed on me, I started to see the solutions and handle what had been drawing me deeper and deeper into the void of my own suffering for the past 3 years. That state, many would describe it as major depression. The practice brought truly amazing results. I overcame many health issues and now follow a healthy lifestyle. And my relationships with my family improved in ways I'd never imagined. I moved from a rented one-room flat to my own spacious 2-bedroom apartment in a business-class building. I am married to a wise and caring wife. Most importantly, I now feel a deep, lasting inner joy and peace that grow brighter and stronger with every practice. To sum it up, I can say this practice saved me from complete ruin and filled my life with boundless happiness and joy. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to the Imram Kriya project and to Imram himself for sharing this practice. And I wish them continued prosperity and well-being. Be happy, friends. This really is a remarkable story.
Yulia, I was thinking we could talk it over for a moment.
Yes.
Imram and I listened carefully to the story, and a question came to mind. In many ways, this story reflects the experiences of countless people. I personally know many of them. I met them at your seminars and retreats. For some, 2 days may seem like an incredibly short time for such a life-changing transformation. What's really going on behind this change? Do you witness this often?
First of all, I want to say that Ilya is a remarkable person. And through him, I want to say to all of you, you are remarkable too. Each of you carries great potential, great energy of she. And of course, this is not Imram's merit. It is partly the merit of the team, who create the conditions for people to encounter this knowledge. But in a much greater degree, it is the merit of the soul itself, and first and foremost, of divine providence. When we resonate with this higher order, everything begins to unfold harmoniously, even if outwardly we don't have much. As you wrote, no car or 2-bedroom apartment. When we resonate in unity with the universe, life improves. As a rule, the providence has no desire to deprive us of anything. We deprive ourselves. When we gain something, we actually gain everything. When something leaves us, it leaves in peace, but we remain. As I have previously mentioned, ahead lies eternity. May that eternity always accompany us, bringing joy, happiness, and success. I wish all of you boundless joy and happiness. May the soul of every person striving for realization discover its own happiness, for it is already within. This is the essence of what I wanted to say. I would also like to emphasize that many people following other paths and traditions, if we were to distinguish them, have likewise found their own happiness and joy. Yet I would like to say that our practice and the understanding it brings can be likened to a celestial dome, something that unites everything. In yoga, Kriya, specifically Kriya as taught by Babaji and Lahiri Mahasaya, is regarded as both the foundation and the crown of Raja Yoga, its fundamental and culminating stage. And no matter what a person does, no matter what they practice, they ultimately come to Kriya Yoga. Not as one of many styles of yoga, but as the natural result of their evolution. Sooner or later, each person will take this step. We call this step action. Whether this step is taken inwardly or expressed outwardly depends on the path one has chosen. Yet as a rule, people come to realize that in order to change their lives, they must change their attitude towards themselves and towards life itself. For this, they need knowledge. That is why I recommend reading Autobiography of a Yogi. By the way, I myself have still not read it. Read other books left behind by realized masters. Here is a small piece of advice for everyone, if I may offer it. Read the writings of realized masters. Novels, newspapers, thrillers, read them if you wish. It is entirely your choice. But those striving for the evolution of consciousness should read books by realized masters. You mentioned newspapers, and thus confirm that you hardly read anything. They have, for the most part, ceased to exist. Of course, they have. Yulia, shall we move on to the next story? Thank you. Shall I continue? I'm incredibly grateful to both Imram and the entire team for your work. You appeared in my life at precisely the right moment, a truly magical gift. I started practicing with Imram on Saturdays. I remember my very first meditation. I couldn't even sit still or focus my gaze upwards. My eyes constantly darted and twitched. Thoughts like a stampede of wild horses raced through my mind. Seriously, at first I couldn't even find 5 minutes of stillness, yet I persisted in my practice. This helped me navigate some of the most challenging periods of my life, and not just to get through them, but to understand and accept them. I'm grateful to the project for the countless courses, valuable information, webinars, at-home lessons, and live broadcasts. I attended a meeting with Imram in Zurich and received a huge boost of energy. I definitely plan to attend a seminar and a retreat as soon as the opportunity arises. For now, I continue to practice and learn. Thank you for being a part of my life. Sincerely, Polina. In the tarot deck, we find the card of the magician. It represents a collective image. A person walking the path, holding a lantern, like this. The lantern lights the way before him, showing him where to go. The lantern guides him along his path. But in reality, that lantern is our own consciousness. It's our inner beacon that illuminates the path we follow. The magician is the one who has accumulated a wealth of experience, who possesses knowledge and understands how to apply it. Yet he still holds the lantern illuminating his way, symbolizing that light of consciousness, which clarifies the mind and brightens the way. Only through this inner light do we see where to go. And when we truly see where to go, this journey ceases, because the real path is inward. There's no need for us to go anywhere. Everything we are seeking is already within us. Yet to discover this, many people have to travel the world. It's like a wandering journey that I call a fairy tale of wanderings. I even wrote a piece entitled The Walking Wanderer. For thousands of years, or if you prefer thousands of incarnations, we wander in circles until we finally arrive at ourselves. While remaining ourselves, we move away from our true selves, because the mind constantly pulls us outward. Ultimately, the light we follow on the path turns us back within. This is why those who begin to practice Kriya are people who carry a wealth of experience. People sometimes ask me, why do you offer so much content in just 2 days? Why such an intense program? Even some masters ask, why present so much knowledge at once? And I reply with a question of my own. Why don't you trust people? Why don't you trust the souls who are already knowledgeable and experienced? Newcomers to Kriya are already prepared, standing at a very high evolutionary level. Those who do not yet feel the need to practice Kriya explore Hatha Yoga or other disciplines, working primarily with the body. And only those who have reached a high level recognize that the true work lies not merely with the body, but with consciousness, guiding its evolution. There are people who have never practiced Kriya Yoga, yet are studying, for example, quantum physics, trying to understand the fabric of reality. They may be studying cosmogenesis or any other aspect of the universe, but eventually they too will understand that for knowledge to be complete and fully realized within us, our own instrument must rise to that level. Developing the mental plane alone doesn't contribute to our progress. But when we awaken consciousness, and along with it the heart, the universe quickly begins to speak our language. Dear friends, I'm happy to announce our guest. She is not a guest, she is family, someone I deeply respect. Welcome, Khadija. You look magnificent. Thank you so much for coming. Usually on air, I only challenge Imram. But today, you'll share the spotlight with him. Hello, everyone. I am delighted that so many people are celebrating this remarkable milestone with us. Yes, 20 years is a significant span, a truly important occasion. Imram says that it seems to have passed in a single moment. Can you share your impressions?
Indeed, time seems to have flown by.
But when you pause to reflect on how it all unfolded, you realize just how many events occurred over these years. Events that were transformative, events that fostered our growth and propelled us forward. Honestly, at a deeper level, it often feels as though we have lived several lives within this time. These years were rich in experiences, abundant in feeling. And once again, I would stress that they brought about deeply significant transformations. This is how I would describe these 20 years.
The Kriya Yoga practices that Imram imparts, as the previous stories demonstrate, have profoundly changed the lives of many people. Today we read only a small selection of these stories, constrained by the limitations of broadcast time. But there are many, many more. And how did your life transform when you gained this knowledge and started practicing Kriya?
First, I would like to say some words about the stories that people share. I am always fascinated by how these changes occur. Sometimes it seems to me that I don't do anything special. I simply share what I know and what I have experienced. Perhaps I possess just a little more experience than the people I work with. We meet so many remarkable people that I sometimes begin to wonder what my own role in their lives is meant to be. They often experience profound transformations in their lives. It is evident they do not find their way to us by mere chance. For me, the most vital aspect of our work is witnessing the unfolding of my own transformation. Every person who comes to us brings with them an opportunity for genuine transformation. And this seems to be precisely what we are striving for: self-awareness and self-realization. And it happens every time. And this is very important. There is an important truth that Master, my spouse, always emphasizes. Your life itself is a divine manifestation. You must be open and alert to everything that happens with you. Every event, every encounter presents a chance to advance, to evolve, and to transform. And we offer the tools to make this process as effective as possible. The letters that have been read today are from people who grasped this message and responded to the moment. This is why their transformation was so swift and profound. This practice has played a very significant role in my life. If you don't mind, I'd like to share one story. When Imram began his seminar tours, he traveled alone, and I remained at home caring for our child. One day, he suggested traveling together. By that time, his events had begun to attract larger audiences. Our child had grown enough that my parents could take care of her, which made it possible for me to go. Yet I actively resisted, because I already had experience working with people. As a medical doctor, I had seen many patients for consultations. I gave my all to this work, and after each session, I felt completely drained and exhausted. I kept repeating, no, it's too crowded there. I can't go. I'd feel terrible afterwards. By that time, I simply did not have enough experience in this practice. Time passed. I believe in everyone's life there comes a time when events unfold that put us to the test, revealing how much we have evolved. I'm sure many people are aware of these moments and recognize them. When I arrived at my first retreat, not even a seminar, I felt something extraordinary. After interacting with people, I still felt full of energy. It wasn't depleted. Then I realized that this happens because we provide energization practices, teach proper concentration, and once focused, the practitioner can progress without losing that energy. At every seminar I say, yes, now it may not be easy for you. You may lack understanding, but sooner or later you will learn to concentrate on your entire body, on the vessel of transcendental power, just as Master teaches during the seminar. And you will realize that you have already learned to retain this energy. Then you'll begin to resonate with the world. It's important to realize this because the benefits of the practice do not always appear immediately, and disappointment can arise. But I want to emphasize this takes time. With time and consistent practice, you will cultivate these qualities and skills. Then you will know clearly what you wish to do for yourself and what you want to contribute to the world. You will have the energy to do it. Imagine how much we could change the world if more people thought like this and approached life this way. Could we really bring happiness to people and the world if we were always running out of energy? I don't think so. I think the number of people practicing Kriya is growing because they gain this experience and share it with others. And of course, this is what every person desires. Everyone wants to burst with energy and accomplish something meaningful. Well, that is my perspective. Let me add a few words. Khadija was far too modest in describing her progress on the path of Kriya Yoga. From my perspective, there were periods in her life, indeed in our family life, that were extremely challenging. Several times she was on the verge of confronting diseases that manifested in accordance with karmic law. You know, back then there were no vacuum cleaners, only brooms, and she couldn't even manage to hold a broom. But it is precisely through practice, through sheer will, her will to live, and through dedication to this lofty ideal and consistent effort that she was able to navigate these extremely difficult periods. Actually, periods when she could simply vanish from the screen of life. Yet thanks to this inner resolve, she awakened to life within her body and her consciousness. This is a very powerful example, one of the brightest examples for me personally. I'd like to add something here. After overcoming these challenging experiences, I realized that I really needed them. Perhaps because they offer real value to those who go through them. Not only did I learn how to navigate these states and improve health through practice, but I also discovered something vital. During these difficult times, profound realizations emerged, moments of deep understanding, in moments of profound immersion within myself. I could see the true meaning behind the unfolding events, and I knew that each of them had occurred for a reason. Perhaps it was also necessary for me to be able to draw the attention of others, facing difficult life situations, to guide them towards greater awareness, and understanding they need to emerge from pain and suffering rather than remain immersed in it. This too can be achieved through practice. Such situations are designed to prompt reflection. What have I learned from this situation? What experience, insights, or understanding have I gained? This is essential. Such things do exist, but people tend to be so absorbed in their suffering that they fail to notice these lessons. Kriya offers a way to delve deep within ourselves, moving beyond suffering towards our essence and discovering these vital life lessons. These moments, though challenging, arise precisely to help us accept certain aspects of life and develop greater awareness. Of course, each person acquires this experience in their own way, but sadly, most people realize essential truths only through suffering. That is why we encourage people not to wait for hardship to teach them, but to start working on themselves now. This way, when challenging karmic situations arise, they can be met with dignity, navigated easily, and transformed into valuable experience.
Khadija, you've spoken about your inner state and the subtle nuances you've experienced over these 20 years. But let's turn to something more everyday. If we go back to family life, the home, the relationships, everything changed very quickly, didn't it? I've known you for years, and I'm well aware that you have always cherished, if not stability, then at least predictability. Suddenly, everything began to shift. Circumstances scaled, life moved fast, and the beloved person was rarely around, torn away by duties elsewhere. How did you cope?
Yes, you are right. Life picked up speed, and I had to learn to embrace these changes. Yes, I love stability. I enjoy planning and knowing what to expect. Life without surprises.
All scheduled.
Yes. This was all I could do. Through my continuous inner work and observation of what's happening and how it's unfolding, I learned to navigate these changes. I don't have any special practice for dealing with them. It happens naturally. Life itself shows how to adapt. I always say, attentiveness is essential. Concentration is the foundation of attentiveness, and this is precisely what we lack, because we are often distracted by trivialities. We chase one thing, then move on to the next. But when we turn our attention inward, we start to see the patterns beneath it all. So that's why this happened, and that's what that was for. Once we recognize this, anxiety fades. Acceptance is the central principle in Kriya. We learn to cultivate acceptance. Because when you realize that the world and your life are part of a bigger plan, that nothing really happens by accident, acceptance comes naturally. And with acceptance, so much of life's heaviness, of the challenges that you may be facing, simply falls away. Was it easy? No, of course not. When I got married, I wanted to devote myself wholly to my husband and family, as any young woman would. Then everything changed, and I truly appreciate it.
How does it feel to be popular?
For me, it is easier because my popularity is not as evident as Master's, my husband's. But there isn't much choice, really. We know we want to help transform the world, and life keeps showing us we're on the right path. More and more people are drawn to what we do. They are interested in the practice. That shows that our work has meaning. Yet we do not evaluate the results of our work. What I personally evaluate is what's happening within me. And I understand that someone needs it. That it corresponds with the plans I once made for myself. Because I want happiness and awareness, not just for myself, but for others too. If they are interested, I am ready to share. Popularity is inevitable. Such things naturally arise.
Cost of business?
Yes, but what can we do? We inevitably encounter extraordinary situations. Now I understand what it truly means to be a popular person, and why sometimes public figures behave as they do. Because sometimes one feels the need to protect their space. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't really matter. Everything unfolds as it should.
Dear viewers, thank you for sharing your experiences with us. We deeply appreciate it. For every story you tell resonates within every one of us and stirs the strings of our hearts. Imram, what do you feel when you hear these stories?
I am first and foremost truly happy for these people. And again, I must emphasize that it is not primarily the merit of Imram or Khadija. To a far greater extent, it is the merit of the souls themselves, those who sincerely strive and seek to reconnect with their true essence. Above all, it is the merit of the higher power, of providence, which grants opportunities and illuminates the path. This guidance allows us to bridge the gap between our ordinary self and the higher self. This is what matters most.
Of course, people value health and well-being, but I would like to stress that health is, in fact, a side effect of yoga. Some people can't find perfect health, yet they have discovered happiness. Yes, it's entirely possible. Through the practice of Kriya, even those who have severe physical disabilities, if I may put it this way, there are such people, you know. We do not always speak of them. I know them. Yes, their desires may not always align with ours, yet these individuals are genuinely happy, and they have future in the present moment. That is what matters. Of course, Kriya has the power to heal. It has the power to heal both the soul and the body. But our true task is to create the conditions for the evolution of consciousness. After countless incarnations, we have reached a level that is quite high and should not be diminished. That's the key. This path signifies a powerful ascent or a profound journey inward. This is what I primarily focus on. The accompanying physical experiences, what people call diseases and what we call healing, naturally arise as part of our evolution, our spiritual progress. So I am deeply grateful to everyone for their patience, understanding, and above all, for the living proof they provide. As I always say, don't take our words for granted, put them to the test. When someone takes action and attains results, nothing could be more rewarding for us. Khadija, Imram, how do you feel about what lies ahead? About how space will change? And what stories will fill the lives of people in the next 20 years? Let's talk about the future. After all, why not?
Honestly, I don't quite know what to say. I feel rather distant from such speculations. Sorry. We are learning to stay firmly anchored in the present moment, to accept life as it is, just as it unfolds before us. There's another important date for us this year. We have lived together for 30 years.
This year?
Yes.
We still have many boundaries to cross, many paths to travel. But in this case, I think that it forms a certain cycle. An important one, because this date marks a pivotal moment. And the significance remains, whether we celebrate 20, 30, or 40 years of our journey together. Every encounter, every shared experience, every path an individual takes. I believe each person has pivotal moments in life that must be recognized. But what's the purpose behind all these events? The purpose is to bring each of us closer to that happiness we all dream of, the very goal everyone strives to achieve. But what is the ultimate goal of our existence? I am often asked, why am I here? To be happy. But I am not happy. I keep suffering all the time. But sometimes to attain true happiness, one must pass through suffering, to learn what should not be done, and to recognize the situations best avoided. These are two extremes. We seek one thing, yet are always accompanied by its opposite. To transcend both extremes, one must rise above them. This requires action. As Khadija mentioned, everything that happens with us serves the good. It is the law of the universe. The real question is whether we can accept this as good in one way or another. We humans wish selfishly for everything to be perfect, hoping to escape any negative consequences of our actions. But the law of karma is inexorably impartial. It does not ask whether you are good or bad. It follows you with its lash along the way. Sages who govern their stars often say, this requires action. This is the action we speak of in Kriya, the path to wisdom that teaches us how to govern the stars. The wise man rules his stars, the fool obeys them. You may have heard this saying. Those who endure deprivation frequently reconnect with their life force, discover new opportunities, and strengthen their willpower. Why do we do all this? Not for personalities, but for Atman, for the one present within each being. And this is not an easy task. Yet as Atman, I recognize that I am addressing Atman in others. All people are expressions of a single consciousness. This is why we share experience. And structure everything to foster an understanding in each person that they belong to this whole. We have all emerged from this whole, from the primary source. Therefore, in answer to the question, the next 20 years and the next 200 years or more will be dedicated to self-improvement and self-realization. Because we are evolving continually. The universe does not stand still. It is ever-changing. Something is always happening. When we completely resonate with the ongoing changes, we become more cosmically attuned. The goal of every person who comes to Kriya, even those who do not yet know they will, is the path to cosmic consciousness. Each must manifest their highest spiritual potential. And they can. To do so, they must overcome their fears. And to overcome fears, one must know one's own nature. When we know our nature, fears dissolve. The mind becomes our friend. It goes far beyond mere philosophy. It is practice. It is action. By answering 3 questions, where did we come from? Who are we now? Where will we go from here? We reach the goal. That's the whole secret. And that's the challenge. Yet having assumed the roles of conductors, or semiconductors in a metaphysical sense, we feel the responsibility to continue our work, whatever the circumstances. Of course, there are many challenges, forces of cosmic illusion that seek to keep people from the soul's celebration of unity. They will not succeed because the universe has another plan. Our task is to resonate with it and keep moving forward. Observe the world carefully. Yes, indeed, signs are abundant. Sometimes they may appear odd, like in this story when a video suddenly switches to one with Yogananda. But in reality, amid the infinity of possible variations, within the quantum field of endless opportunities, a video shifting to Yogananda, precisely when it is most needed, can only be an act of providence. This is a sign for you. And I say to all, we are surrounded by signs and symbols. If we truly wish to change the world for the better, these symbols should be transformed. Some of our disciples say, how do you explain that? We keep seeing 3 sixes. A car drives past with 3 sixes. We turn around and there are 3 more. It's the number of the beast. In fact, 3 sixes are 3 inverted 9s, pointing to the angelic presence within a person, to the opportunity for angelic consciousness to manifest in human form. Remember this. This is just an example. Never think that the universe works against you. The universe is always positive. It is the Creator Himself manifested as love, as Shakti, as energy. So yes, signs are everywhere. Watch for them. Even if your mind views something in a negative light, your consciousness, which encompasses all, has the power to transform it into something positive. Desire and life will shape itself around your wish. We are the creators of our own reality. And with that, I'll end my monologue. Thank you so much. Khadija. Our broadcast is drawing gently to a close. Today we've listened to so many touching stories and warm, sincere wishes.
Thanks for joining us on air and brightening up the show. It's usually a bit of a boys' club here, but today we were lucky to have both you and Yulia with us. There is still so much ahead of us. Looking at it more broadly, I think the Imram Kriya team isn't just the people behind the scenes. It also includes our viewers, like those who shared their stories today.
Yes, absolutely.
It includes everyone watching this broadcast now, or who will watch it later. Because in the grand scheme of things, it is not about belonging to any organization. It's about moving together in a shared direction, looking toward the same goal. This shared goal centers on self-development, the cultivation of health and well-being, and embracing every opportunity to make life better. So what would you wish for these people, our people, those who genuinely seek to better their lives?
For all the people of our earth.
Yes.
First and foremost, I would not merely offer wishes. I want to thank them for their trust. Because in essence, I feel that I am one of them, and they are no different from us. Perhaps we set ourselves a lofty goal from the beginning and journeyed towards it. Along the way, more people joined us, and the circle grew. That is exactly how I see it. We are simply walking together. Because every new encounter is an opportunity for growth. If you perceive life this way, I believe its colors change instantly. So thank you. We are always waiting for you. Please come. Actually, we do not promote ourselves with special advertisements. People choose us as mentors of their own accord, but we don't perceive things this way. That's why this work doesn't feel difficult to us. There's always something to share, because we are journeying together. This is how I see it. I hope that everyone who is about to join us will have the opportunity to feel what we feel.
Our broadcast is coming to an end. It's gone by in a flash, just like these 20 years. To me, this broadcast seems to have lasted even longer than those 20 years, which really flew by.
Yes.
Dear viewers, thank you so much. Whether you are watching this broadcast 20 or even 200 years from now, I'm sure you'll see that today was truly special and deeply meaningful. And it's not accidental. It reflects the 20 years of dedication behind the Imram Kriya project and the path Imram has walked as a teacher. Thank you all for being here with us today. Check out our videos, hit subscribe and like. Wishing you well in all you do. See you.